Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. And today I'm gonna get a little personal with you. I'm actually not kidding. This is kind of a personal video, as you can tell by the title. It's my life with ADHD. So I figured I'd just do this video because I wanted to do something personal. So I thought this would probably be the best thing for me. And this is not something I'm not afraid to put out online because it's like you can easily tell just by like watching my videos that clearly I have ADHD. But anyway, I guess we'll just dive right in, shall we? But anyway, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was in the 8th grade, end of 7th grade, I believe 13, 12. There's a whole backstory to that. I'm not putting that online, but just know that was fun time for me. I was diagnosed, and when you get diagnosed with ADHD, it's not like a one session. You have to go for multiple ones, take multiple tests. If you really want to get down to it, you can get a brain scan. But ADHD is basically, it is a attention hyperactive deficit disorder, or ADD is just attention deficit disorder. Basically, the front lobe in your brain. Just a disclaimer, real quick though, I'm not a doctor. This is just stuff I've learned because I have it. But it's your frontal lobe. Basically, the neurotransmitters aren't transmitting as well as they should. So like your brain's not firing correctly, and because of that lack of certain parts of your brain not being on, it causes the symptoms of ADHD. Now, another disclaimer I want to throw out there, the biggest one that annoys the crap out of me the most from everybody: ADHD, everybody has the symptoms. Doesn't mean you have it. Don't self-diagnose. I know it's easy to do because you're like, oh yeah, compare to that. Just because you think you compare it to a disease, a mental illness, doesn't mean you have it. Go through the proper channels, go see a professional, do the testing. There is testing for all mental illnesses. It's not as simple as just being like, yeah, you have it. It's not like that. It's a mental illness. It's serious, just like everyone else. All the other ones are just as serious, and how we take care of our brains and our mental state is just as important of how well we take care of our physical state. Throwing that one out there. Don't self-diagnose. It's just bad. Plus, I mean, even my doctor was like, well, people that self-diagnose, more than likely they're going to pick something that they don't feel ashamed of, right? So, just throwing that one out there. There are a lot of people that self-diagnose themselves with ADHD, and it's really annoying because it's like, you don't understand. It's very obvious, because if you had it, you wouldn't want to self-diagnose, because it does affect you in life more ways than some people realize. I'll get more into that. But I was diagnosed when I was 13 or 12. I've been on medication ever since. You do the normal, I go to the doctors about 3 to 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year for it. It can be very annoying and expensive. Theoretically, you should go to the doctor for it, get some therapy. There's also other ways that you can kind of treat it, like meditation. Brain therapy is a big one, neurofeedback. There's all different ways you can, there's even some like supplements you can try to help it. Going gluten-free helps, doing no red dye helps. I mean, there are a lot of ways you can kind of take care of it. It can be annoying. If anything, it's just the most annoying mental illness you can have. It's categorized as a learning disability, but at the same time, it stays with you your whole life. So it's not like just a young thing. Well, when I was diagnosed and I started taking the medication, it's the equivalent of me putting on my glasses. When I put on my glasses, I can see better. It's the same thing with my medication. When I take my medication, I can see better. I can think better. I can feel better. My quality of life is better. I get along with people better. I get along with the troubles of my life. I can cope better. I can deal better. I know a lot of people are against taking the medication because of how serious they are. If you take the medication the way you're meant to, you're more likely not going to have any bad side effects. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't had any bad side effects, because I have, without a doubt. But you more likely, like, nothing, like, I haven't had anything too bad. I know some people have on certain medications, but so far, you just gotta listen to your body on the medication and figure out which one works best for you. The good thing about ADHD medication is pretty much majority of them are all going to be fast acting. So there's actually 3 different kinds of ADHD. We got the daydreamer is what I call it. The inactive. Those are going to be mostly because most of the times men are going to have ADHD. I don't know if that's just because it's easier to diagnose men with it as a woman, because women that have ADHD, it's not always easy to diagnose them. Now, I'm a poster child for it, and if anybody wants to use me as a research study subject, I'm all for it, because I could totally help you out with some of your thesis or your articles. I could totally publications. I would be a good candidate for you. But the intent of, is your daydreamer. They're gonna be, easily distracted. That's the main one. That one's gonna always fall through. Just distractive. I've been taught daydreamer. Somebody who kind of gets lost into everything, struggles with focusing, following directions. Big thing is losing things. Yes, we all lose our car keys, but an ADHD person, multiply that by like 10. Like I said, everybody has the symptoms of ADHD and ADD through and through. It depends upon the severity and if your brain is actually working the way it's supposed to or not. Again, if you're really unsure, you can always get like a brain scan or something. They don't have that burst of energy, random burst of energy, because even I get that sometimes where I just feel like I want to go run a mile. They're not as fidgety either. They can be calm, but at the same time, what's going on in their brain, it's just, you're kind of just like, yeah. But that's kind of how I was taught what it's like. I don't have this type. I have the 3rd type. But I think on my government document, so I actually was truly diagnosed with it. I have a government piece of paper that says, hey, Taylor da has blah 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 blah. I believe it says ADD on it though. I could be, I don't know what he ended up, because you can't, at the time when I was diagnosed, I'm not sure if the 3rd type was, you were able to add to that. I'm sure if he could. I've gone in and out of therapy, like I've done CBT, DBT, I've done group therapy. I like group therapy's not bad. I recommend group therapy for when you don't need one-on-one therapy. But therapy isn't like just sitting around and talking to people. That's not how it's like. That's the other thing I hate about nowadays. Even still, therapy is still stigmatized. I'm just like, okay, aren't we all like smarty pants? Shouldn't we all kind of know that therapists are trained to kind of direct your conversations on how to handling certain situations, how to handle the brain a little bit more than somebody you just talk to on the side of the street? Then there is the second one is hyperactive impulsive. You're impulsive, unfiltered. You get burst of energy at the most inconvenient time sometimes. Fidgety, talk nonstop. You have trouble sitting still. Having difficulty waiting, impatient. That's a big one. Interrupting, because your brain's going faster than what you think. The best way I can describe ADHD is basically not the open tabs thing, because we all have open tabs, because we all have so much going on in our life. But basically, ADHD is if we all had TV screens. Okay, we had a bunch of TVs, and they're all going, right? But with ADHD, without it, you're looking at one TV screen. All the other ones are muted, paused. You're not really focusing on them. You are able to focus on that one screen. But with ADD or ADHD, you're looking at that one screen, and while all the other ones are playing, screaming, you got one going fast forward, you got one flickering, you got some static up there, you got that, and then your main one is getting mad at you for not paying attention to it. That's just the nicest way I can figure out how to say that. You do not grow out of ADHD unless you magically had a brain scan when you were a kid and when you're older. I will never believe that one. But you lose your train of thought. That's a big one. The out of the blue thing is a big thing. Look over there, there's a squirrel. That's a big joke. I think that's funny. When I was a kid, I think I struggled most with the impulsivity and the unfiltering. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a little better at controlling both of those, because I can afford some stuff, so I really have to be careful with my impulsivity. Not finishing projects. That's like a big one. It's very hard for me to finish stuff through and through. I can start stuff all day long, but to start from A and finish to B, and that's a hard task for me. from weight loss to work to phone calls, conversations, relationships. It's all very kind of difficult sometimes. And it's really hard for me to have a healthy relationship with someone because there are days when ADHD will take over and you kind of, unless you have a patient partner or somebody that understands you or someone that does have ADHD, it's kind of hard to keep the balance and boundaries. Constantly in motion and able to, you have to be constantly stimulated. Your brain does. It's kind of hard for me. Like I'm constantly thinking of the next thing. But I definitely have a little bit more ADHD than I do have ADD. I think if I remember correctly, he said it was about half and half. I definitely relate more to ADHD than I do ADD, but I follow about both. On my good days, I have like ADD. On my bad days, I'm like full on ADHD. That's the third time. It's just a combination of both. So while ADHD is considered a learning disability, it's not just for school. It can also be for your whole life, from learning how to drive, because people with ADHD are statistically higher to be in a car accident, and trust me, it's true. At least I haven't had anybody got injured. It's hard to form relationships, friendships, because of the lack of the social skills. Because not that you're stupid, it's just that your brain's got to catch up a little. It's got too much going on. It's got to figure out what's going on. You have to be taught in a certain way. You know, I'm definitely a visual learner. So if somebody sits here and tries to sit here and talk to me how to do something, and well, social, like I need to see some examples. I guess you do that. Visual, auditory. I do better doing tasks. Now, the thing with ADHD is sometimes it goes along with another disability. So, in this case, for me, my other disability that came along with my ADHD is depression. A lot of people will have like autism, bipolar. So, I don't think schizophrenia. I just remember bipolar and autism being the ones that are OCD. I don't have OCD. I do have a sensitivity to touch. I don't know if that's really my ADHD or not, but my dad does too. Certain materials just feel weird, like painful weird. Like, yeah, when I don't have my medication, normally I can feel touches a little bit more heightened. It's really kind of annoying. Smells, seeing, hearing, your senses are a little bit heightened. What else do I struggle? You can also have ODD, which is basically, I'm going to say this in nicest terms, basically that anger is kind of uncontrollable. I had a friend that had it, and the way that he kind of dealt with it was he just didn't eat or drink any red dye. You'd be surprised what's red dye is in a lot of things. Overall, ADHD, it's not bad though. At the same time, like some days I'm actually kind of glad I have it because it gives you like this ability to hyper focus, which is kind of cool, especially like when you're working on something. Like you get so hyper focused into something, you can't let it go. You gotta get done, and you do. It just sucks on those days when you don't have that ability and you're like the complete opposite. But I don't think it's a bad thing. It's annoying. The one thing I don't like about it is my social skills are shit. I wish I could work on that a little bit more. I wish I had the money. But anyway, it's an expensive, so expensive, mental disorder because I'm a severe case. My medication, if only some of you guys knew how much it costs. Because not a lot of insurance companies are going to cover it, so you got to pay it out of pocket. It's crazy expensive. Just know that. It's gotten better. In the past year, it finally went down, and now I can actually buy a car. And pay for the car payments. I wouldn't hate on ADHD. It makes me unique. It makes me different. Sometimes I'm glad I have it. It keeps my life interesting. And some days it makes it very difficult. And there are people that don't believe in it, especially in the South. I don't know what's going on in the South. But for some reason in the South, I think it's just, well, you just need more discipline. And that's why actually a lot of people that have ADHD do better in a structured environment because they have something to keep them on track. That's why, some people with ADHD, it can go really bad for you in life. And that's why you want to get treated for it. Because if you're not careful, ADHD can take you down, take you real down, real hard. If you have ADHD, don't be ashamed of it. Through and through, definitely don't. If anything, I get more superhero powers from it than I do other people. It's just there are some things about it that sucks, but there's also some great things. You got some famous people. The 3 people I can name off the top of my head is Mozart. I don't think they do, but Mozart, I know he definitely. Then Adam Levine, which I can't remember if he came out and said he didn't. He had to. He just doesn't. No, I'm kidding. I'm not doing it. And then the guy from Extreme Home Makeover, what was his name? Tyler Ty. He's got it. I don't know any famous women off the top of my head. I'll have to look that up a little bit. See, women aren't normally diagnosed with ADHD or ADD because it's kind of hard to find them. The only thing is, normally they are going to be better at multitasking. But ADHD sometimes can make you feel like a superhero, and sometimes it can make you feel like a supervillain. It's got its gifts and its curses. The one thing you always have to remember is you can't use it as an excuse. That is hard. That is something that I worked in therapy for a couple of years. You have to find a way to live with it. You have to work around it, work with it. I guess I don't really know any famous women that have it. I could be wrong, but I don't off the top of my head. It's definitely more of a male sorter, just because they're typically a lot of the times kids at age 7 get diagnosed with it. My doctor the one time said normally a good year for the diagnosis is right before preteens, because the sooner you can catch it, and treat it, the easier it will be for the person through puberty. Ugh, stuttering. Ugh. Anyway, that's kind of my story with ADHD. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but at the same time, I'm kind of grateful for it. It also does keep me kind of down. Prevents me from getting over. Then sometimes I feel like it makes me fat because I do get random bits of random bursts of energy. Like I have one right now. I just want to run a mile. Just run. It's weird. It happens. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But I'm not I'm okay with it. Sometimes I kind of wish I could make my life easier, but at the same time, it keeps me. And as I'm growing older with it, I kind of like it better because it keeps me fun and not boring. I don't know. Well, I hope this was nice for you as much as it was for me. And I don't like talking about my personal problem. Well, let me fix that. I'm not an open book. I'll talk about personal problems. Doesn't mean I like just talking about personal problems. I like venting. But it doesn't necessarily mean I like venting to everyone. But anyway, I hope everybody is having a great day. And I look forward to seeing you guys real soon. Bye.